Guys, it's 2022. It's time to finally upgrade your wallet. And our friends here at Ridge are here to help you step up your pocket game. This incredible wallet is light, sleek, and industrial. Plus, it does not fold. It doesn't awkwardly bulge out of your back pocket. It goes in your front pocket. Ridge wallets hold up to 12 cards, plus all the cash that you need. You can choose from over 30 colors and styles. That includes carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It is the best wallet you can buy. You don't just have to take my word for it, because there's over 30,000 five-star reviews. I was skeptical at first, but once I tried it, I never went back to my old wallet. And I want you to know there's no pressure. Test it out for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, get a full refund. If you decide to keep it, there's going to be a lifetime warranty. Go to ridge.com/Chael or just click on the link in the description below to get 10% off with free worldwide shipping and returns. That's ridge.com/Chael to save 10% right now. Different song, different verse, a little bit louder and a little bit worse. That's the lead-in. That's the walkout music. To who? Khamzat Chimaev. Because, guys, there's nothing that's clearer now. So, according to BJPenn.com, who's a very reliable source, Gilbert Burns, Khamzat Chimaev have agreed they're going to go face off, I believe, in April. Save the date. Don't quote me on that. Point being, that rumor turned out to be true. When I talk about confusing, that does not clear anything up. That may tell us who's next for Gilbert Burns, and in this specific case, who's next for Khamzat Chimaev, but that's no longer the question. That was the question a month ago. For the last 30 days, the question is, what in the hell's the delay? And this whole thing started with Neil Magny. Neil Magny stepped forward to break this blanket statement that we, the audience, were being told that nobody will fight Chimaev. Neil Magny said, well, then you're calling me nobody, and Neil meant it. But then Jeff Neal stepped in there somewhere. Belal Muhammad, coming off the biggest win of his career, chose to use that platform to stick a finger in Chimaev's face. So all of a sudden, we at least can't say anymore, nobody will fight him. That was buying us time. Whosever idea and for whatever strategic reasons we're kicking the can down the road on what's next for Khamzat Chimaev, that bought us some time. But now it's no longer true. Neil made it untrue. Jeff made it untrue. Belal made it untrue. Okay. Gilbert Burns. Now, I'm talking about we're still confused with Chimaev. We only have one piece of information, right? As we're being detectives and we're trying to study everything, we only have one piece of information. It came from Dana White doing media at Colby versus Usman out at Madison Square Garden. And all Dana said was very small, but it's all we had. All Dana said is Chimaev is 4 fights away from being in there for a world championship. I've never held Dana at that number 4. In my mind, my ears, what I heard, 15 months. That's what I heard. Either way you want to interpret that, it's going to be a period of time. And with Chimaev fighting, being as active, being as busy as he is, okay, great, we got 4 fights. That could mean 3, that could mean 5. Bottom line is this. It's not going to be right away. Well, that's tough. If you can beat Gilbert Burns, which nobody not named Kamaru Usman has been able to do in 4 years, if you can beat Gilbert Burns, you're probably fighting for the world title. Now, let's say you don't. Let's say Chimaev can beat Burns, but he doesn't get a fight for the world title because we're locked into this 4-fight number, this 15-month number. Who does he fight next? Now, that only brings us back to the same problem that we're in now, except it shortens the pool. Chimaev just got a ranking. So even if Magny's a little bit, I think they're separated by 3. I think 9 versus 6. I'm close on this. But there's 2 sets of rankings, whether you're aware of it or not. You have the top 10, but then you have the top 5. If you're not in the top 5, you're not fighting for a world championship. So even though it's fun and a colloquialism is to say top 10, there's 2 sets of rankings within the top 10. Top 5. Which Chimaev would be in if he beats Burns. Now, who's he going to fight? Who would be very limited? You'd have the Colby Covingtons of the world. You'll have Masvidals of the world. You're going to have the Luques of the world. But if we're going to have Chimaev, this is the only point that I'm trying to make. If Chimaev has to do 4 of these fights before he can get in there with whoever happens to be the world champion at the time, and Burns is one of those fights, who in the hell can the other 3 be? And think of it from this perspective. Even if you could come up with 3 names for me. Let's say he goes and beats those 3 names, and Kamaru Usman is still standing at the King of the Mountain. Now he goes and fights Kamaru Usman. Let's say, just for fun, that he beats Kamaru Usman. Who do you have in fight? See the problem now? Do you see the problem now? If the future champion has to come up the hard and slow way and cleans out everybody in his path, once he makes it to the top of a mountain, he puts his flag in the ground, who do you have him fight? Because the next nearest guy available is now ranked number 7 or number 8. So there gets to be a game. It gets to be complex. And I'm just submitting for you, we don't have any better direction right now. We really don't. We have no more clarity now on Chimaev than we did before. We have BJPen.com, very reliable source, confirming what we did have as a rumor, but the rumor was Gilbert Burns and Chimaev was a rumor that was started by 2 pretty good sources, Gilbert Burns and Chimaev. So pretty easy to believe that's going to happen. What do you do with Chimaev next if we're still operating on there's 4 fights before he gets to a title? How do you have a guy beat Gilbert Burns, be the only guy to beat Gilbert Burns? It's 48 or 50 months. Gilbert Burns only lost 1 fight and it was for the world championship. How do you have a guy be the one guy to beat him, but he's not the number 1 contender? Well, then who is? Colby? Okay. But if Colby doesn't get back in there with Kamaru, why would Colby go in there and fight Chimaev? I mean, all I'm suggesting for you is you guys see where it gets complicated? All of these things can be worked out. You can stand down every single one of these, start tackling it one issue at a time, come with some opponents, get some bad agreements out. I get it. That's the business. But if you want to be a little bit more sophisticated, if you want to stand back, you want to go, no, Chimaev needs 4 fights. Chimaev needs 15 months. Okay, well, what's he going to do in between now and then? And not to mention, and not for nothing, my biggest point in this whole thing when I talk about we don't have any more clarity, different song, different verse, do that whole bit. What I'm talking about is why now? Gilbert Burns didn't emerge 3 days ago when BJPen.com posted this. That was talked about on social media closer to 3 weeks ago. So why now? Gilbert Burns hasn't had a dance partner for a meaningful period of time. He got done with his last opponent a while ago. He's sitting here free and he's available. Why now? And I can live without knowing that answer. I'm bringing you the question because there is something here on Chimaev that we've missed. Perhaps it's something that's none of our damn business. Perhaps we're asking questions we don't deserve answers to. Doesn't make the question go away. For Chimaev to be now going to be locked in there with Burns, it'd be the same thing if you brought Magny out of nowhere. Okay, we're going to fight Magny. Well, yeah, but Magny wanted to fight him 5 months ago. Why did we wait all of this time? Why did we kill all of this time? So I'm going to ask you again, what is going on with Chimaev? He's supposedly going to fight Burns. Let's operate on that assumption. Why now?